Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting with our presentation very soon. Just waiting for candidates, participants to pour in. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome Melissa here. Hi.
Hello, how are you, Doctor?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing very well. I'm very excited for today.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Now, what time is it where you are?
It's 8 o'clock in India right now.
So 8 p.m.?
Night. Yes, 8 p.m.
Okay. We're
It's
10:30.
Sunday morning for you in Canada, right?
Sunday morning, yeah. So you're Sunday evening.
Yes, we are Sunday evening. So we are just 2 minutes away from our scheduled time, and we'll start. We are just waiting for some participants to pour in. So
Sure.
it was a huge, overwhelming response from the participants. So we have got somewhere around 150 registrations. So
Wow.
maybe some people, they will be able to join, or most of the time what happens, they ask for the webinar recordings. Yeah. So because of the time, and today we are celebrating one of the biggest season festival in India, year's biggest festival. So maybe we will see how much we'll get. So we'll start pretty soon in 1 minute.
Oh, that's exciting. Tell me more about this festival. That sounds fun.
This festival is called as Dashera, and it's like we celebrate the victory of good over evil, like truth over like negativity and falsehood. So it's like very big festival in India.
I like that. So
Yeah.
how would you celebrate then?
It's related to one of the very famous novel or in India called Ramayana. It's a story about God who have taken the incarnation avatar in human form, and it's like a story of husband and wife and how they get victorious in the end. So it's very interesting. Sometime I'll listen to you.
It sounds very intriguing.
Indeed. So shall we? Can we start?
Sure. I'm ready when you are.
Yes. Thank you so much. So I'd like to welcome all of you today for this lovely webinar, fantastic webinar with Melissa Calvé Balog. And I hope you know me pretty well by now. Myself, Dr. Abhijit Patil. I have completed my BDS and MDS from India. And in my career of 10 years as a prosthodontist, academician, guide, and speakers, I have educated and motivated hundreds of students. And I became permanent resident of Canada in 2019. And since last 3 years, I have been studying, I have been gathering knowledge all about dentistry in Canada. So it's like you have to put a lot of efforts in it. So I've put a lot of efforts since last 3 years. I've been studying each and every aspects of dentistry, not only dentistry, but in and around dentistry, everything. So my ultimate aim is to give one single stop solution for all the internationally trained dentists, right from accurate and genuine information to education counseling to immigration support to NDEB equivalency process examinations guidance till right and correct employment opportunities. And for that purpose, I think I'm the only one in India right now who is doing these kind of webinars related to Canada. And I feel good about it and I love it, right? So that's why I'm doing it since last couple of months. And today's webinar, as you all know, is about employment opportunities that internationally trained dentists can have in Canada, because international trained dentists, they face one of the toughest challenges when they immigrate to Canada, because the dental field is highly regulated in Canada. And so that's why you should know like what right opportunities, what right certification, and what right education you should have in order to secure initial employment, right? So these are the all aspects you should be aware of right from the beginning when you start thinking about immigrating to Canada. So for this, I would like to welcome our very charming speaker, Melissa Calvé-Balloch, for this presentation, and a brief introduction about her. She is a visionary entrepreneur with vast and versatile experience background in recruitment, leadership, management, sales, marketing, consulting, and cultural development of over 10 years. So apart from dental, she has worked in medical, health and wellness, food service, and hospitality industries as well. So Melissa is a proud CEO and founder of Inspire Dental Opportunities, and which is a dental recruitment and talent acquisition agency based in Canada, Oakville, Canada. It is dedicated to helping dentists and dental professionals like dental hygienist, dental assistant, and other dental profession to find a suitable and desirable opportunities, employment opportunities. So I welcome you, Melissa, here.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for that lovely introduction. I appreciate that. So Dr. Patel, do you want me to share my screen here or?
Yes, before that, before we jump to our main presentation, there's two polls I would like to conduct for all our participants today. So okay. I'll be launching the polls. I hope all the participants can hear me and you can just answer the question. Here you go. The first poll is, I'm launching the first poll. So I want to know that what really you are interested in, all of you. Like you are interested in studying in Canada, immigrating to Canada, or both. So participants are very quick with their responses. So I'll be ending the poll soon. I hope I got the numbers right. Yeah. So yeah, 81% of people, they are interested in both. Like they want to immigrate to Canada as well as they want to study. But in that, most of them want to immigrate to Canada and then they want to see how it goes from there, right? That's a good opinion I got there. So that's the first. Now the second poll is, yeah. So what are your choices after getting permanent residency of Canada? You want to go through NDEB equivalency examination, you want to get education, or you want to do both? Thank you. So again, 50% of them, they want to go through NDEB equivalency examination and they want to do education as well. Okay, so that's a good thing to hear about. I just want to get to know what your mentality is, what exactly candidates are thinking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your opinion. So there you go. The virtual desk is all yours.
I think that's great information to have. I love this polling system. I like the real time of it. It gives a great snapshot of
yes.
who's listening And I think that it's great to know our audience, and that today, I think the presentation will be really beneficial for everybody, especially seeing what the poll answers are. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now, it's not giving me an option here. You might have to allow me to do that, Dr. Patil. So
Yeah.
I'm clicking on this, and
I've made you co-host.
all right. So let me know
Yeah.
when you can see. You see my screen here?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay,
I'll be
perfect.
muting. Just let me know if you need anything. Thank you.
Perfect. Now, Dr. Patel, one last thing is I'm wondering if I should turn my video off just to make sure that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
So
I'll
the
turn that
transmission
off
will be
as
smooth.
well.
Yeah.
That way, yeah. Okay, perfect. So let
Yeah.
me go ahead and do that. I'll turn off the video. Stop video, and then we can focus on the presentation, and then make sure that everybody can hear and see seamlessly, since I'm all the way from Canada, and I know that we have people logging in from all over, which is very, very exciting. So first of all, I wanted to thank you, Dr. Patel. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you. It's been great getting to know you and learning a lot more about you and all of your expertise. And I congratulate you on all of your success so far, and also for being a huge value and asset to the dental community, not only in Canada, but also in India and internationally as well. So it's a true privilege for me to be here speaking with you, and to everybody who's listening in and who's going to be listening to the replay. You did a great job introducing me. My passion is helping people. My passion is really helping people to find their gifts, and really express them to the world and find your dream career. So as you mentioned, I have been in recruitment and business development for over 10, 15 years. And over the last couple of years, I opened up my own agency. It's a recruitment and dental agency. So I specifically work with dentists and dental professionals, helping them find placements. So my clients are dentists who span across Canada. So I've got clients in every province, and provinces in Canada are like states. For example, in India, we have provinces. And so I've got clients with our company all over Canada who are always looking for dental professionals. They're looking for dental associates, hygienists, assistants, technicians, denturists, as well as dental reception and administrative roles. So we really specialize and focus specifically on the dental space. And so that's what I'm passionate about. And this is why it's such a pleasure to talk to all of you guys today. So I don't need to share too much more about me. I want to get right into how we can be of benefit to you and how much information we can share. So once again, Dr. Patil, it's such an honor to have this conversation with you and everybody listening today. I'm hoping that we are adding value to everybody on the call, and that we can help assist you in coming to Canada and being successful. So that's our aim. So today, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to touch on practicing as a dentist in Canada and what requires, talk a little bit about visas, work permits, and permanent residence. I'll be talking a little bit about employment trends for internationally trained dentists, which I believe is pretty much 100% of the audience today. We're going to talk also about candidate attributes and Canadian work culture, as well as associate opportunities. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those opportunities in geographic locations, as well as city versus rural. So we'll touch on that. And then I've got also questions that you will be asking employers when you're ready to enter the workforce. And then we'll open it up to Q&A and see if there's any questions that maybe I haven't touched on, and we'll have the conversation at the end. So just to start off with, and before I get into this, I want to congratulate all of you guys for everything that you do. I know that becoming a dentist is a very long, difficult process, and it's amazing that what you're doing and adding value to the healthcare system and education and health and wellness to people all over the world. So I commend you on that. And I want to let you guys know that there's most definitely hope. And even with what's going on in the world right now with the pandemic and, unemployment rates are going up, you see, the percentages increasing. In Canada, there is still a ton of opportunity. And if you look at the size of Canada, Canada is so large relative to our population, which is why immigration is incredibly important to Canada. So everything that everybody on the call is doing right now, we are looking for experienced workers and professionals such as yourselves to come in, and there's always opportunity and there's always hope. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be an easy road, but it's definitely going to be worthwhile. So to practice as a dentist in Canada, here are a couple things that you're going to need to do. You're going to have your credentials assessed by the NDEB. And for those of you who aren't sure what that stands for, that's the National Dental Examination Board of Canada. So you're going to be assessed by the NDEB. You're going to have to apply to the Dental Regulatory Authority, or the DRA, in the province which you wish to relocate. And again, Canada is quite large with our provinces, so you're going to have to decide on where you want to go. And you're going to write the NDEB exam or complete a dental program at an accredited university. And then once those exams are passed and completed, then you will obtain your license to practice dentistry in Canada. So I'm going to touch on a little bit about entry to Canada as internationally trained dentists. Express entry options are federal skilled workers programs, FSWP, as well as nominee programs for healthcare practitioners. And these are province-based and based skills and experience. I'm not going to get too much into that. What I am going to focus more on is international study permits, as well as work visas, because this is really what's going to apply mainly to most people who are listening today. So entry into Canada on a study permit. To study as a dentist in Canada, the most important piece of paper that you're going to need before you arrive in Canada as an international student is a study permit. So you must apply for a study permit if you're coming to Canada for any schooling that is longer than 6 months. But before you can apply for a study permit, you're going to need a letter of acceptance from a school, university, or college in Canada. So you're going to need to find a school program. And of course, going online and Google is always very helpful for that. We have all of this information at our fingertips. So you can find a school program online, apply to your program of choice, and then receive an acceptance letter from that school, college, or university in Canada. And then you can apply for your study permit. Now, the next way is entry to Canada on a work visa. Now, if you're attending a post-secondary programming in Canada and you want to work, note that as international students with a study permit, you may work part-time, which is less than 20 hours a week in Canada. So you can work part-time without a permit. Now, if you want to work full-time or be a part of a work placement while studying, you're going to need to apply for a work permit. So if it's more than 20 hours and you want full-time, then you are going to have to apply for a work permit. And keep in mind also that your spouse or your common law partner may also apply for a work permit as well. And just a side note, if you're staying for less than 6 months, a travel visa in your passport, if you expect to study in Canada for less than 6 months, or an ETA or electronic travel authorization, if your passport is from a designated country there. So then ultimately, permanent residency and how to obtain Canadian permanent residency. So what you're going to want to do is contact the nearest consulate, your High Commission, or an embassy of Canada. And the process to do this is some of the things that they're going to require from you are providing a medical certificate and criminal record check, fill in and submit a permanent resident visa application, pay the application fee. You're going to have to attend interviews with immigration representatives, and some other things depending on whether they apply. And in your case, as an internationally trained dentist, The following probably will be required, but again, it depends on the nature of the category and your application as well. So they're going to need originals, copies of and official translations of the documents that support the application. Of course, sufficient funds to support you during your time in Canada. You're going to do a skills assessment test, language tests. There's going to be additional fees. Other documentation or tests may be required. And usually the process ranges anywhere from 6 to 16 months. So you want to keep that in mind while thinking about coming over to Canada and making sure that you're prepared for that. You want to make sure that you're budgeting for that. You want to make sure that, you know, the people in your lives that are your family, that this is something that you're working collaboratively together, and you have a support system to help you with all of this, because there's a lot going on and you're going to need the support system, especially if you're studying and working. It's going to be, you know, it's a lot of work, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for that, and the people in your life and your families and your support system are aware of that, so that they can also be supportive and help you as well. So next, I want to talk a little bit about practical work options for international dentists. Now, Dr. Patil did and has done some incredible webinars previous to this one. So I'm going to highly recommend that you also listen to, or request, if you haven't already, listen to his previous webinars on these as well. I'm going to touch on them, and I'm going to relate them to dentistry and my experience with helping international dentists. But he does a great job of really diving into more of the particulars on all of these areas. But I'm just going to touch on some of the practical work options for international dentists. So the first one, dental hygienist. Typically, international dentists, they want to stay in their field. So either want to continue on and end up getting their license to practice dentistry. And in the meantime, you may want to work while you're doing that. The process, you know, it can take, you know, 2-3 years, depending on your situation. So many of you are going to want to work, or some of you may end up staying in the dental space, but maybe in a different career path, such as dental hygienist, and what I'm going to be sharing with you. So many international dentists, they will come over, they'll take another program in their field, so they're getting practical experience in the Canadian work culture while they're studying for their NDEB. So one of the options is dental hygienist. Now, this is very highly regulated. You'll find that the auxiliaries in Canada are highly regulated, and it's a little bit different than, for example, in India or other countries around the world. And you'll find that the setting inside of the dental office, for example, the dental hygienist has many, many responsibilities, and they are regarded quite, you know, secondary to the chief dentist. So education requirements, you'll need accredited Canadian dental hygiene program, minimal of 2 years of education outside of Canada. Now, degree programs for hygienists are 4 years. Diploma programs can be anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. So it just depends on whether you're going for a diploma or a degree program. Now, what you can do is you can actually, as an international dentist, contact the board, the NDHCE. And again, you can just Google that in the province that you wish to practice, and get the exact entry requirements, because every province is a little bit different. So that's where online and the internet is so beneficial, to be able to go to these governing boards in each province and find out what the exact entry requirements are. And what you'll need to do is pay for an assessment based on education from your home country and submit it for the board to review. If the qualifications are not met, then you'll have to take the Canadian courses to upgrade and write an exam, and then apply for a license in the province of practice. So it depends on if the qualifications are met, and if they're not, then you'll have to take the courses to upgrade. Now, That's one option that you can do. Another option is dental assistant. And there's level 1, level 2. And again, I'm not going to get into too much detail of that. Dr. Patil did a great job on his previous webinar, but these are some options that we've noticed that a lot of internationally trained dentists do. And as employers looking for, if your ultimate goal is to become a dentist, a practicing dentist in Canada, a licensed dentist, either whether you're going to own your own practice or whether you are going to become an associate. A lot of employers, a lot of dental offices, they like to see on a resume that you have Canadian experience. And if that experience is as a dental assistant or a hygienist, it's even better. It will put you above other internationally trained dentists or other dentists who don't have experience, because it lets them know that A, you were able to work as well as study. So that shows your ability to be able to, multitask and have the breadth and depth of knowledge, but also to be integrated into the Canadian culture, which can be quite different from country to country. So dental assistant, again, is highly regulated. The course duration is about 8 months to 1 year. College or post-secondary program and completions on the job training. What you'll need to do is pay for an assessment based on your education from your home country and submit it to the NDEB for review. Again, this is just another board for the dental assistants. Okay, so if your qualifications are met, then you can apply for a license in the province that you're relocating to. And if the qualifications aren't met, you'll have to take a course to upgrade and write an exam and apply for a license in the province of practice. Now, depending on the province, the qualifications may be a little bit different. So you may find, for example, your diploma or degree, you'll be able to take an assessment. You pass the assessment, you'll be able to practice as a dental assistant, for example, in Saskatchewan in certain provinces. Now, again, every province is a little bit different. So it's important to decide where you might want to live and start reviewing where and what those qualifications are. Because in some cases, as a dental assistant, your DDS will allow you to take an exam. And if you're able to pass the exam, then you can simply apply for the license. Or in some cases, there are some shortened courses that are several weeks long, again, depending on the province. So it's really important for you to decide where you want to move and what that's going to look like. But these are just different options. So dental hygienist, dental assistant are usually the top that I see internationally dentists, trained dentists going for while they're studying in Canada. For them to practice dentistry in Canada. Now, some other practical work options for international dentists. The other top one that we see is dental office administration. So this one is a little bit easier to get into. It's not regulated. So of course, there's no license to apply for. There are courses that you can take, and these courses are a lot shorter. So obviously you're able to get to work a lot quicker and you can focus on your studies. So a lot of times we see international dentists, they'll come and do dental office administration. You can take courses, they're between 3 months to a year. And what's really important here is experience as an asset. So for example, if you're able to work with the dental program, some of the top dental programs are AbleDent, Dentrix, there's ClearDent, but there's a couple that are Dentrix and AbleDent are probably the most popular ones in the dental offices. So if you've got knowledge and experience in those two programs, then that's going to give you more of an edge when applying for dental office administration jobs. Now, things that are really, really important in dental office administration opportunities is communication, being able to being organized, being decisive. You're working, you're the front line when people come into the office. You're the one who's answering phones and you're filing, and obviously having the medical terminology, which you would have already. But it's really, really important here is communication, having the ability to work collaboratively with people, with the team, with the patients, with the dentists, having those organization skills, and experience is also an asset. So if you've got any experience in your home country, this is also something that you'd want to put on your resume. Again, this isn't regulated, so it depends on where you're applying for the job. Depends province to province, depends on the city that you're looking for. Again, what's most important here is the ability to have clear communication as well. If you've got experience in those programs that I mentioned, that is a huge asset. So if you can spend a little bit of time, even if you're able to do that in your home country online, before you get to Canada, that would be extremely helpful for you as well. Other options that we've seen are denturists. Now, this is another option if you want to, you maybe study, become a denturist, or if you just want to switch your career path and become a denturist. The course duration is about 2.5 to 3 years. Again, this is highly regulated. Another option that we see are for dental technologists. Course duration is about a 3-year program. And again, this is a highly regulated area. So dental technicians, they use molds, models, images of patients to build dentures and partial bridges, as well as specialized orthodontic insertions to help articulate the patients. Whereas a denturist, a dental healthcare professional who provides denture care directly to the public, and they can design, construct, repair removable dentures or prostheses. So it's a little bit of a difference there. But mainly what we see from our side, from a dental staffing perspective, is that a lot of the internationally trained dentists, they will usually do, while they're studying for their NDEB, is office administration, see a lot of assistants, and not as many hygienists because the programs are longer, but typically dental office administration or assistants. Now, I will tell you that hygienists, dental reception, as well as assistants, more specifically dental assistants and dental hygienists, are in very, very, very high demand. I know with my company, we have our clients always looking for dental assistants and always looking for dental hygienists. So dental hygienists, typically per hour, you're making anywhere from 35 Canadian dollars to 45 to 50. Sometimes provinces I'll see $60 Canadian an hour, whereas a dental assistant will make anywhere between 18, starting base would be $18 an hour. I've seen all the way up to 25, 30, depending on the role, depending on your experience, depending on how much value you're adding. But entry level for a assistant would be around the $18 marker an hour Canadian. Hygienist would be around $30, $35 an hour in Ontario and most of the cities. Now, depending on the province, and maybe a little bit higher as well. But again, you can always look into that online as well, depending on where you want to go. Dental office administration, entry anywhere from, $17, $20, $22. And remember, there's always opportunity to have that increased over experience. So after 3 months of experience, typically employers, what they'll do is they have a review and they'll check in on your progress. And that's the opportunity. If you've been an asset and you've been advancing, then there's an opportunity to have a raise. And that's when you can talk about increasing your salary as well. Now, denturists, dental technologists, this is something that's not as much in my expertise. That's more Dr. Patil. And that's why it's important, I think, to review his other webinars, and he gets into great detail with that. So employers and what they're looking for in a candidate. Now, this is something really interesting, because a lot of what my company as recruiters, as our company, we talk to a lot of our clients who are dentists, and dentists looking for dental professionals such as yourself, again, looking for dental associates, hygienists, assistants, dental reception. Those are the top things that we're always being asked for, and they're always looking for it. So there's always opportunities. And I'll share a few key attributes that they're looking for. And a lot of times it's the soft skills. Now, all of you have been trained with all the technical skills, but you'll find in Canada, it's really, really important to have the soft skills as well. The soft skills are the number one thing that our employers, our clients ask us for. You know, you could have somebody who is incredibly skilled, but if they don't have these attributes, then the likelihood of you getting a job over somebody else would be much lower. So it's really, really important to understand that soft skills are just as important as the technical and academic skills that you've acquired so far. So these are just some things that employers are looking for. Honesty, of course. You know, you need to build the trust and the honesty with people that you're working with. That's really, really important in the Canadian workforce. Obviously, quality of service is very, very important as well. They're looking for people who are helpful, looking for people who are adding value, looking for people who go out of their way to help others. This is really, really important in the in actually all of the employment areas of Canada, especially when you're working in very small areas. It's important to be helpful and look for ways to help other people. Kindness. Kindness is really important. Building a team, being able to communicate with the people that you're working with, but also the patients. Working in a dental clinic, it's not just working on dentistry. It's not just working on teeth, but you have a team that you're communicating with. You've got your assistant that you're communicating with. You've got the hygienist, you've got the reception, you've got your patients. And if your patients don't feel like you are kind, they will not want to come back. That is part of Canadian culture. And I'll talk a little bit more about Canadian culture on the next slide. Obviously, knowledge is important. On your resume, you want to have all your credentials, but all these soft skills are important as well. They want to know that you're dependable. They want to make sure that they can count on you. Punctuality. So, showing up on time, showing up early, all of these things get noticed, even for interviews. If you're going for an interview and you're late, that does not look good. If you're on time and you do the things that you say you're going to do, that bodes really, really well. Because the thought is that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you show up late for an interview, for example, well, they're going to assume that you're going to show up late for, everything, for your appointment. So it's really important. Punctuality is there as well. Education is obviously important, and communication is huge. It's really, really important to be able to communicate. Communication allows you to really convey your expertise. You could have all the skills and expertise, but if you're unable to communicate that with your patients, for example, then again, they're not going to have a clear understanding of what needs to be done. The trust isn't going to be there. And in the Canadian culture, it's really important to explain things to patients, what they can expect. They need to have that comfort level in order for them to accept any type of treatment plan that you are going to give them. So these are just a few of the key attributes. Team player is also at the top of the list. A lot of times when employers come to us, they say, Melissa, we're looking for a dentist, but team is number one. We need to know that the dentist can work in a team environment. And they tell us that we're not looking for dentists who have attitudes. We want them to leave the attitude at the door and come in with a great work ethic, who come into work, ready to work, enthusiastic, they're helpful, they're kind, knowledgeable, dependable, and they're willing to work and be a team player and work with the rest of the team in the clinic. So really, really, really important there. And obviously language, obviously the English language is important, but you'll also notice depending on where you live in Canada, Canada is a very, very multicultural country. So we have languages from all over the world, and depending where you live, having other languages can be a great asset as well. So there are going to be some areas that may have a higher density of different speaking languages that you may be an extra asset to, which is fabulous. So I want to talk a little bit about the Canadian culture, and I talked a little bit about it just a moment ago, but you know, culture is interesting because culture can really change the way communication is, and understanding culture is really, really important to help you to integrate easier into into your new home, and to help you to really build on your skills as well. A lot of times, not understanding the culture creates confusion, and it's really communication. So understanding different cultures, and the Canadian culture when you come is going to really, really help you to understand how to integrate better, how to communicate better, and to understand other perspective. So for example, you see the word sorry here. Canadians are very, they're known to be extremely polite, sometimes almost to our detriment. And Canadians say sorry a lot, even if it's not their fault. So you'll probably find that, you know, people will say sorry for the littlest thing and you may not understand it, but it's really just a politeness thing. Canadians are extremely polite. You'll find a lot of times people will go out of their way to open the door for you or smile as you pass by, you know, allowing you to go first in the lineup. And if you can also do the same, and if you can also reciprocate that politeness, then you're going to find it much easier to integrate because you will be accepted much easier. So what I always like to say is, you know, observe people and observe people's actions. And if you can observe that and you start kind of morphing, I'm not saying change who you are, I'm saying that just observe. And sometimes you can follow people's patterns, and you'll notice that a lot of Canadians, they say sorry, you know, they're extremely polite. And again, sometimes you'll wonder why people are being so nice. And in some cultures, this could sound like it's not authentic, or it could sound that it's untrusting. But in fact, Canadians feel more trusting when you're polite, and when you're kind, and when you smile, and when you're engaging. So for example, if you're in a dental clinic and you're treating a patient, I know in some cultures, it may not be polite to look at somebody directly. Whereas in the Canadian culture, if you're not looking at a patient or paying attention to them, they feel that it's rude, or they feel that that you might be trying to hide something. So this is really important to understand the differences and the nuances when communicating with people. Obviously, I've got some fun pictures here. Obviously, hockey is a very big sport in Canada that really is part of our culture and our heritage. So, you know, start taking note of it. Start maybe, you know, watching a couple games and having something to talk about. You know, you see Santa Claus here in the bottom left-hand screen. Christmas is a big thing. And even people who don't celebrate Christmas, for example, get into the spirit of it, right? We always, you know, Santa's from the North Pole, so Santa's from Canada. Just having these fun little things and being aware of all of the different cultural experiences that we have, and observe them. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to take part, but if you observe them and kind of become curious. I know Dr. Patil was telling me that you have a festival going on right now. And, you know, I'm always curious. I want to know more. I would love to attend and learn more about different cultures and diversity. And when you do that and become curious and talk to people and ask questions, they want to talk, they want to reciprocate, they want to help you. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to attend events. Don't be afraid to network. Networking is also a very big cultural thing with Canadians. So networking, meaning you can network online or offline. Obviously, attending events right now, it's a little bit difficult because of what's going on in the world, but there's online events, you know, there's social media, being able to communicate with people, reaching out. Dr. Patel reached out to me through LinkedIn, and you know, this is how we met, was networking. Networking professionally on a professional platform allows you to connect with people and expand your opportunities more than you ever would have. So it also helps you on your journey because you don't feel alone. There are people who want to connect. There are people who want to help. There are tons of support groups out there, tons of activities, tons of things that you can do to help integrate and meet people. So don't be afraid to expand beyond your study and expand beyond your work. You want to be integrated into the Canadian culture, into Canadian society. You want to make friends, you want to make connections, and those connections are going to help you along the way. So don't be afraid to do things like that. There's, you know, meetup.com, there's networking groups like BNI, Business National International. This is all over the world, but this is something, networking events that are available to you. There's Toastmasters, where you can, you know, brush up on your communication and presentation skills. Having those skills will help you and demonstrate to your employers that you are going above and beyond the next candidate or applicant, and helps you to advance even further in your career. So really, really important there. Now, in Toronto alone, there's over 140 different languages spoken. So again, Toronto and the rest of Canada is very, very multicultural. So it's such an exciting experience if you're open to diversity, being curious and learning. And that also means that you're very well welcomed and accepted, and people want to get to know you, people want to help you, and there's a lot available, and there's a lot of hope as well. So after you've gone through that whole process, and let's assume now you're ready to work as a dentist, you've completed your process, you've you know, you've finished your board exams, you've been accepted, you've completed all your programs, you've worked for a couple of years, you're ready to work as a dentist, you're now licensed as a dentist in Canada. Super exciting process and long process as well, but what happens now? So you're a dentist in Canada, you're licensed, what next? So there are options for associates all the time, all across Canada, in every single province. Now, one of the things that we've noticed is that there's most people want to work in the cities and aren't as willing to go to the rural communities. Now, obviously, there is pros and there's cons to it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what you can expect in urban communities or the cities, and also what you can expect in the rural communities as well. Because as I shared with you, and as you may know, Canada is a very large country, but the population is very much focused you know, in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Vancouver, those are the hotspots. Calgary, most of the population resides in those cities, and most people want to work and stay in those areas. But what that means is there's not as many opportunities also for international dentists, because a lot of times employers in those areas are looking for Canadian experience. So I always encourage new grads and also international dentists to think a little bit broader. There are so many opportunities across Canada for you, not just in the cities. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of working in urban communities, which are the cities. So obviously you're going to have all the extra comforts and conveniences of home. You know, it's going to be more comfortable for you because you're in the city, there's more people around, you've got, you know, all the conveniences. You'll have all the same types of foods and restaurants and, you know, probably people that that are from your same cultural background are going to be in the cities. There's a large variety of grocery stores and restaurants, and you're closer to your friends and family. But things to consider when you're wanting to stay in the cities, there is fierce competition. So not only are you competing with the Canadian grads, but you've also got all the other international dentists who are also competing for these same jobs in these highly concentrated areas. So the competition is very fierce. There's fewer patients due to the abundance of dental offices. There are so many dental offices in the cities that there aren't enough patients to actually you know, fill full schedules sometimes in the dental offices. Now, that's not in all cases, but that's in some cases. So that's something that you want to consider. Sometimes in the cities, you'll have lower wages because you have there's more competition. There are simply more people who are looking for those jobs. So then employers are able to offer less wages in the cities. You'll have less perks or additions. So you may not have extra, you know, they may not offer extra accommodations or perks to you if you're in the city because of the competition. They don't need to. There's less of a work-life balance. So a lot of times in the cities, you'll find that you may not be able to find full-time employment because there are so many people looking in the same areas. You may find that you'll be working in multiple offices as opposed to just one. If you're looking to make up, you know, 20, 30, 40 hours a week, depending on what that looks like. And this is true with assistants, hygienists, as well as associates as well. This is what we've been finding the trends are. You'll be working days, evenings, weekends. So there's less of a work-life balance. So if you're looking for something that's more consistent, then this may not be for you. And usually in the cities, they're looking for more clinical and Canadian experience. So they require, and they'll ask us specifically, we want, you know, 3 to 5 years of experience, or they won't even look at the resume. Now, this isn't every office, but this is happening more in the cities than in the rural areas. Now, opportunities in rural communities, things to consider, it's most times you're away from home. So obviously in rural communities, there's not as many people, you're away from home, family and friends. Now, obviously, the audience that I'm speaking to today, you're going to be away from home anyway. You're going to be in a completely new country, but it will be more rural. You may not have the amenities of home. You may not have, you know, all the restaurants or the grocery stores or the foods that you like to eat in the rural communities. It's much, much quieter than the city. And you need to be okay with building new friendships because there is going to be a lot less people. So you need to take and be more proactive in the rural communities. And it's actually a great opportunity for you to really see different parts of Canada that most people may not see. Now, some of the benefits of working in rural communities in Canada, you have a higher than average earning potential. Now, I always encourage new grads, new Canadian grads, as well as international dentists to look into rural communities. I believe as an international dentist or a new grad that living outside of the cities, at least for a year or 2 years, the earning potential is much higher than the city. You're going to have more of a work-life balance. You'll find that most of the opportunities are Monday to Friday during the day, you know, like 8 to 5 or 8 to 4. You're not going to be working in multiple offices in all cases. You've got your evenings and your weekends off. Usually you have a very busy schedules. Which is great because that allows you to work on your skills. It allows you to work on what you went to school for. You're not referring out as many patients because there's no one to refer to. So you get the opportunity to work on your skills and learn new skills as well. A lot of times you'll get support of great management team who want you to thrive and succeed. Now you're going to get that depending on the office that you choose. There's great communities in which you can establish yourself. You'll find that in rural communities, very, very family oriented, very, super kind and welcoming people. A lot of times in the rural communities, they respect dentists as elite in the community. Now, of course, dentists are respected everywhere. And of course, absolutely, you should be all the education and knowledge, but it's even more so in the rural communities. It's people in the rural communities, the dentists are almost like celebrities in those communities. So it's kind of a neat perspective. Now, lots of outdoor activities. Canada is very well known for incredible outdoor activities. And yes, we do get very cold in the winter. We have many cold months, but those are great opportunities to experience life and experience the skiing and the snowshoeing and the hiking and, going on trails and biking. And there's so many wonderful things that you can do. Now, also in the rural communities, you've got a lower cost of living. So therefore, if you've got higher than average earning potential, you're going to be able to take more home. You can save more, right? So if you've got a lower cost of living and you're earning more, then of course, you're going to ultimately benefit even more from those areas. Also, in those rural areas, there's competitive compensation packages. So a lot of times, as an incentive for you to work in the rural areas, the dentists or the owners will offer extra perks. They'll offer benefits, health benefits, medical benefits. They'll offer travel expense for you to maybe travel back home, every few months. They'll offer gas expense, travel expense. They'll offer paying for CE courses so that you can continue your education as well, which is obviously something that's required anyway, but some employers will actually pay for that or pay for a portion of it. Some will pay for your accommodations. Some will give you expenses or signing bonuses. That's not as common in the city, but you will find that there are incentives when you're looking into rural communities. So that's something that you can talk to them with, or if you're coming to an agency like ours, and we're able to share with you what they're offering and what maybe you might want to ask for. So we really like to work as kind of like a bridge between the gap there. And of course, in the rural communities, they're much more flexible with their associates. So grads are welcome, international dentists are welcome, and they expect to give you mentorship to help you along your journey. So I really want you to consider not just to work in the cities, but once you become licensed as a dentist, I think it's a great idea to look outside of the cities. You're going to get the experience and you're going to have much higher earning potential because your schedules are going to be much more full. Now, typical associates earn 40% remuneration of your production. So, in the cities, again, it depends on where you're working. It depends on how busy your schedule is. It depends on how quickly you do procedures, and obviously that will brush up over time, but it also depends on what procedures you're doing. So what I've seen though in the rural communities is several $100,000 per year and above. Whereas if you're in the city and you're newer, or you're new grad or an international grad, it would be less than that. So it's significantly higher in the rural areas. We just want to make sure that the schedules are full and you're asking the right questions so that when you're being placed in a clinic, you have all the proper knowledge there. But generally speaking, 40% would be normal remuneration across the board. And you can expect several $100,000 Canadian per year and above in the rural communities. Again, that can vary depending from office to office. And really, there's no limit on it. The limitations are only limitations that you put on yourself. The opportunities in Canada and the opportunities for you to add value, most offices, they are open to and are looking for dentists who are enthusiastic about learning more and who want to do more procedures, and they'll encourage and support you along your journey. So really, the earning potential is limitless. So when you're looking for a job as an associate dentist, or perhaps you want to purchase your own clinic, but for today's purpose, we'll talk about if you're going to be an associate after you obtain your Canadian dental license. You want to also make sure that you're looking for an opportunity that fits you. You're not just going to take the first job or opportunity that comes along, because this is something where you want to make sure that it is a win-win situation, right? So they're going to be interviewing you, but you also want to make sure that you're asking the right questions so that you're matched with the right office and you're able to thrive. It's important, just as important for you to be happy as it is for them to be happy. And that way it's a symbiotic relationship where you're both growing, you're both learning, the patients are happy, and you're going to be more successful as well. So things that you're going to want to ask, or that if you're working with a recruiter, is, you want to know how long the contract is. A lot of offices, they'll have contracts. If they're rural areas, usually it's a minimum of 1 to 2 years for the contract. You want to know that in advance. You want to know what the wage or the salary is, of course. That's important to know. And this is whether you're an associate, an assistant, a hygienist, a technologist. These are questions that you want to ask, and they're happy to share with you as well. You also want to know how full is the schedule. If you ask this, it'll give you a better idea as to what your production is going to be like. Because if you're making 40% as an associate, well, you want to make sure that you've got a full schedule and that you've got patients to be able to bill. Because if you've only got 1 or 2 patients a day, well, then that 40%, it's meaningless. You want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. So if you have an employer who is offering you 50% remuneration or 45%, well, make sure that the production is there. Make sure that you have a full schedule, because you could have one employer offering you 40% and you have a full schedule every day, and you're billing $100,000 a month, for example, whereas you could have another office offering you 42% or 45%, and you have a quarter of the production. So make sure that you're asking the right questions so that you're not getting into a situation where you're disappointed and you're not getting what you deserve. So other questions that are important: am I replacing somebody, or am I in addition to the team? Or the better question is, am I addition to the team? And that gives you a better idea as to, what happened to the associate before me, or what happened to the hygienist before me, or what happened to the assistant before me. You want to make sure that you're joining a great supportive team for you to help you on your skills and where you want to go. Will I be the primary associate, hygienist, or assistant? Will I have mentorship or training? And what does that look like? So if they have mentorship and training, that word mentorship could be different in different contexts. People may think that mentorship is, it could be a dentist giving you mentorship over the phone, and they may live in a completely different province. Or it could be mentorship, they could be helping you, they're in the office and they're helping you with different skills. Now, different people want different things. So be clear on what you're looking for, and asking those questions are important. Asking, what are the typical dental procedures at the clinic? Will PPE be provided? Personal protective gear. This is now, of course, something that's really important, especially with what's going on in the world. Most offices are really, really good with this, but there are some that they're not as. So make sure that that they're providing this for you as well. Other questions, you can ask, how many operatories are there? This will help you determine how busy the office is. how many assistants, associates, how many front desk, can I review the employment contract? There should be one. I know a lot of people are sometimes afraid of contracts, but I believe that they both protect the employer and the employee. So knowing and reviewing the employment contract, maybe having one of your colleagues or mentors or a lawyer looking over that contract before you sign one is important. Or if you're working with a recruiter like our agency, we'll be able to help you with that as well and help you to interpret it, read over it with you, and make sure that you're comfortable before you sign it. It's really important to have that. You can also ask, what's the culture of the clinic? You'll find that different clinics have different cultures. They have a different vibe. They have a different feeling. So, you know, you may be somebody who is, you know, very outgoing and energetic and talkative and sociable. And if you're going into a clinic that has a completely different culture, that might not be comfortable for you. So again, you want to make sure that you have the right fit. What are the values of the clinic owner? What are your values? Take time to really think about what's important to you. What are you looking for from in an employer? You know, is teamwork important to you? Is communication? Is mentorship? You know, respect, all these things that are important. You want to make sure that you align yourself with the right people. Also, like I mentioned before, there are some owners, mostly in rural areas, that will give you some sort of reimbursements, and they'll cover some of your expenses. So you can ask those questions as well. And now be careful the way that you're asking. Remember, Canadians are very polite. So if it sounds like you're asking in a demanding way, it won't be received well. So make sure that you're being conscious of these questions and how you ask them as well. And then you can also ask, how am I going to be introduced to the staff and patients? And these questions just help the employer know also that you are curious, that you're wanting to learn, and that you want to be a part of the team. So guys, I'm going to just kind of review today's topics. This is coming to the end of my session today, and we'll get into a little bit of Q&A. I know I went over multiple topics here. As I mentioned before, I think it's really important to rewatch or go back if you want to get more in depth on some of the auxiliaries. Listen to Dr. Patil's webinars. They're always so informational. But just to review today's topics, we talked a little bit about practicing as a dentist in Canada and what you need for that. We touched on visas, work permits, permanent residences. We talked a little bit about employment trends for internationally trained dentists. Again, hygienists, assistants, and dental reception or dental administrative roles seem to be the most popular when studying for your NDEB. And this is great experience and looks great on resumes. We talked a little bit about candidate attributes in Canadian work culture. This is really, really, really important when looking for a job in Canada. Employers are really looking for those attributes or looking for those soft skills. So if you're not so up on those soft skills, start doing a little bit of personal development and working on that a little bit. Associate opportunities, we talked about geographic location, the city versus rural. Now, in some cases, depending on where you're taking your program or your courses, you may have to work in the city, and so there's going to be a little more competition. But know that when you complete your NDEB and you are licensed as a dentist, rural options are fabulous options for mentorship and fabulous options for your income opportunity. And then lastly, we touched a little bit on questions that you can also ask, and know that, you know, it's really important that you find the right placement as much as they find the right candidate. So our job is really to help you find the best match that's going to help you along your journey. And I want you to think about where you want to be in 5 years. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Think about your goal and work your way back and how you're going to get there. So really knowing what your goals are, knowing what your values are, knowing, being specific about where you want to live, where you're going. If you know where you're going, then you're going to start attracting the people in your life that are going to help you to get there. And we talked about networking and reaching out to people, really, really, really important to help you along your journey as well. So guys, I really hope that that it was beneficial. Dr. Patel, it was such an honor to chat briefly on these topics. And before I get to questions, you can always contact us. We have our website here, inspireopportunities.com. There's always opportunities on the website. You can always email our team. There's our phone number. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to us. And however we can help, whatever value we can give. I've also got some educational videos on the website there, and we're always out in the community and helping people. You can always join our network when you're ready to look for an opportunity. Again, we are happy to help. We're happy to add value, and we really want to help you upon your success and journey to Canada. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to you, Dr. Patel, and perhaps we can do a little bit of Q&A.
Yeah, sure. That was a fantastic and very helpful, very informative presentation there, Melissa. I really appreciate your efforts that you have taken for this presentation, and it addresses my main aim, that what I have faced during my journey, that students and candidates, they get like head on with their preparation. They get to know about the situation, what exactly we have to face, what exactly we have to go through when we will land up in Canada or something like that. So that is absolutely a fabulous presentation there you have, and I hope it was very helpful. And recordings also will be available. So if candidates, they want to go through this presentation again, they're very much welcome. I'll be sending them the email for that. And I thank you again for your wonderful presentation and your time for guiding all these candidates. So hopefully we have addressed most of the question, because before the presentation I have asked my candidates to get the questions and everything. So but if they have any, we'll ask them. Like, I hope everyone can hear me. So if you want to ask anything, please go ahead. You can just write down your questions in the chat box.
And we can always maybe do another one.
Yeah, sure, anytime. Always.
A lot of questions. We can always do another one. That was fun.
One webinar is not enough.
Exactly. I'm really excited for everybody that's on and who's going to be listening, because it's such a, it's such a great career being in dentistry, and I know all the work that it takes. I work with so many, especially internationally trained dentists, that you go through the whole process in your home country, and then you come here, and sometimes it seems so long and expensive, and it's nice to know that there's support out there, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
It's definitely it's worth it, and I hope like they will follow through this, because see, there is so much confusion about it. Like the things are pretty much clear about United States of America, Europe, but things are not sorted out when you start discussing about Canada, because actually it's like blindfold. Means you have to come here and then you find out the ways, then you find out the opportunities. But when you have heads on with your journey, it's always better to have all the information handy. And when you do it, so we are getting questions here. So if you are okay with it, if we both can answer the questions, right? So
yes,
the first one, here you go.
Just for timing, Dr. Patel, I've got probably about 5 minutes before.
Sure. We'll answer those questions by mail also. Please tell us about the advantages that one can have by pursuing a DDS international degree completion program in Canada. So they're basically asking that if a candidate has a Canadian degree compared to the international degree, what advantages they can have.
I'll let you answer that, Dr. Patel.
Actually, it's actually advantageous, because I prefer that if you complete your first examination, your assessment of fundamental knowledge, try for the degree completion program, because DDS and DMD degree matters a lot, because the perspective of looking at you, because once you have your Canadian education. That's a very big stamp on your resume. And second, you can have good opportunities there with a Canadian degree like DDS or DMD degree. So definitely, if you can, but there is still fierce competition nowadays in DDS and DMD programs to get the admission, right? So more important thing, you should have to have a permanent residency in order to get into these programs, okay? Only University of Manitoba is the only university which provides the degree for the international students. So that's the answer for your question. So the last question we'll take here, because we are short on time. So as a prosthodontist practicing in India, what is the best course of action in order to move to Canada? The course of action is fixed. You have to gather the knowledge. You have to go through permanent residency program. You have to get the PR of Canada. Then the limits are endless. There are no limits. Means you can get financial assistance. You can get, if you want to do a DDS or DMD program, the bank will sponsor give you a loan. They'll sponsor your program, and all the facilities are available for permanent resident as compared to international students. So you're very short if you have international student tag rather than a permanent residency. Yeah. So yeah, are employers generally willing to sponsor for our work, or is it best to have PR? So Melissa, I would like to you one thing is, what is the work visa? Do dentists sponsor if they clear, international dentists, they clear their NDEB equivalency process? Do they give work visa? They'll give you offer as international student without a PR or citizen of Canada?
I haven't seen it as much. I would say it would be more rarely, just because there is such an abundance of applicants and associates in the Canadian dental space. So it's not. I've seen it, but not very rarely. Very rarely.
Okay. That's great.
What's your experience? Do you have different experience of that, Dr. Patel? This is just based on what we've seen and the trends over the last few years. Like I have some clients who have sponsored, but usually they're in the rural areas. So for example, like Saskatchewan, I've seen sponsorship from
Manitoba.
Employers there, Manitoba as well. Those are very, very rural areas, and they're hard to employ people there because there's such, you get your Canadian harsh winters, and it's very rural. And so this would be reasoning for that.
Okay. I know you're short on time, so Melissa, if you want to leave, you can. But I seriously thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to see you soon in Canada when I'll come there after this all COVID situation.
We'll have to meet up again at our Canadian culture, our importance.
Tim Hortons, that's Tim Hortons.
Coffee. It's not the best, but it's our culture. So, okay, Dr. Patel, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy to help in any way, and I appreciate your time and also everything that you add to the dental community here in Canada as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah, if there are other questions, I would be happy to answer your questions. So next question is, after passing NDEB, what is the process to do masters in specific course like OM, MS or other? Yeah. So this is again, I have answered in my previous webinars. Once you have your Canadian equivalence for masters, it is not necessary that you have passed NDEB equivalency process, because it is not written anywhere on NDEB website. But yes, if you have completed NDEB equivalency process, it is added advantage for you. Yes, definitely in your application. Most of the time, some programs, master's program, they have requirement that NDEB equivalency pass. If you have passed NDEB equivalency, that is considered as an asset in your application. So oral and maxillofacial, it is the most lengthiest program in Canadian universities. And if you have done your DDS or DMD, it's very much easy to get into these programs rather than having international degree. But yes, international degree along with NDEB equivalency process. If you have passed NDEB equivalency process, it is added advantage and bonus and asset for you to get into these admissions. So the process is simple. If you have passed your NDEB equivalency process, you can apply for these master's programs. Okay, so the next question is, are employers generally willing to sponsor for your work visa? That we have already answered. After passing NDEB, what is process? About the advantage that 100% DDS international programs. Can you suggest best colleges for dental hygienist? See, in Canada, the standard of each and every program, it is dental programs, it is monitored by CDAC, okay, Canadian Dental Accreditation Board. So the level, the standard of all the programs, hygienist program, it's same depending upon the patients that can come and go and the level of exposure that you can get. But given the fact that you have completed your BDS, you don't have to learn actually the terminologies and all those things. What you have to learn is the way you can handle a Canadian clinic, dental clinic, the way, what is the Canadian work culture, how to do all the things. So it will be very beneficial for you to appear for these NDEB equivalency process. So yes, all the colleges, if you find the colleges into the metropolitan region, it is easy for you to attend the college as well as go for NDEB equivalency process tuition coachings. Okay, because all these coachings are available in metropolitan region. So if college which is just nearer to these coaching institutes, so it will be better for you to have education as well as coaching for their NDEB equivalency process. Okay, so the NDEB equivalency process, the process has not been stopped. Actually, because of the COVID situation, they have stopped the new registrations because of the workload that they are getting. They have started to process now, and they just want to clear the backlog. Because see, what happened was the first exam, which is AF, it happens in August and it happens in February. Okay, so this year the Feb exam has happened, but the August exam didn't happen. Okay, so when the first exam didn't happen, the candidates appearing for the next examination are less. Okay, so that's why what they are doing is they have suspended the registration, new registration as of now. And what they will be doing is they'll be finishing their backlog. Once they're finished with their backlog, they can resume the new registration, or they may resume a new registration once this COVID situation is resolved. So that's not something to worry about in the near future, because very much the NDEB equivalency process will be going on. So is there any age limit for giving NDEB? No, there is no age limit, yes, but there is attempt limits. Any exams, there are 3 exams in NDEB, a total, I would say 4 exams. The 3 exams for NDEB equivalency process and 2 exams in NDEB certification process. So any exam you can appear for 3 times. Okay, so if you fail any exam, like first, second, or third exam, third time, you cannot appear for NDEB equivalency process. So make that thing clear in your mind, that if you passed first exam, second exam, and if you fail 3 times in your last exam, you cannot go ahead with your dentistry dream in Canada to become a dentist, right? So you have to be very careful. So there is no age limit for that. Average percentage of intake every year for international students. So that I want to know which for what you're meaning, that DDS program or MSc programs or dental hygienist program, which programs? I want to know what is the intake is for, because international students, as I told you, cannot apply for your DDS program or DMD program, but international students can apply for dental hygienist program, dental assistant program. So dental hygienist program, depending upon that, you can have average around 30 to 40 master's programs, whereas they have very limited seats, around 3 most of the time. So 3 seats are there, out of which maybe 1 seat or 2 seats are reserved for international students. But the domestic students and the international students, they are treated equally. Okay, so you have to be sure about that, that you are applying for which program and what are the number of seats are there. Okay, please tell exams for MDS person from India, like the exams are different for international postgraduate. Please tell about that. See, what happens is MDS, if you want to practice as specialist, there is a parallel thing which is called as National Dental Specialty Examination. Okay, so it is a dental specialty and DESCE examination. It is called as. You have to appear for the DESCE examination. Once you pass that DESCE examination, there are 3 to 4 dental colleges which have a program which are called Dental Specialty Assessment and Training Program. So suppose you have done a master's in prosthodontics, so you have to get admission into that dental specialty assessment and training program for 1 year. If you get admission into that program, they'll assess you, they'll see your work, and they'll give you a training, and you'll be you can give a national dental specialty examination after that, and you can register yourself as a specialist. That is for MDS people. That is completely different way. But most of the time, the trends are in Canada is MDS students also, they go through MDS NDEB Equivalency Process rather than going to this specialty program, because if considering your international degree, and that is also from India, and competing against the students who have domestic Canadian degrees or American degrees, so the chances are really slim, I would say. Yeah, so you should be concentrating mainly on NDEB Equivalency Process, even if you are MDS. And once you're clear that, if you are interested, you can go ahead with your master's program. The next question is, sir, if I'm not a PR but I enroll in dental assistant program, can I get work permit so that I can afford finance for it? Yes, you can. You can get work permit, as I told you before also in my webinars. International students can get work permit up to 20 hours per week. You cannot work more than that. And depending upon what kind of work you are getting, you can support yourself. You can support your living, your food, your rentals, and all those things. But NDEB examination, they are the first 2 examinations are not that means I would say expensive, because the fees is around $3,500 or $4,000 for coaching for the first exam. Same for the second exam, and the NDEB application fee is around $800 for the first exam and $1,350 for the second exam. So that is not much amount, right? But the third exam, it costs you a lot. You have to purchase all the equipments, all the instruments, then coaching is expensive, and the application fee is expensive. It's around $9,000. So for the last exam, you should be expecting somewhere around $30,000-$40,000. So that is the biggest part that you have there, considering the cost of your exams. Yeah. For 50-year-old, what is the best option? Not give NDEB yet with 20 years of practice in India. Being a 50-year of age, right? To be honest with you, if you don't get your PR, there is no point in getting NDEB. So the first thing is you should try for a permanent residency, and you can afterwards you can, if you get your permanent residency, then there is a point of applying for NDEB or other courses or programs, because 50 years Canadians, they are accepting more younger generation people. Okay, so even if you have 50 years of age, no need to worry. If you are determined to go there, you can. There are various ways you can enroll as an international student, and you can get some degree from there. You can get a work permit from there, and slowly you can convert your work permit and to get your permanent residency, as you'll have Canadian education and Canadian work experience. So yes, you can pretty much do that. And if you have some family over there, they'll definitely give you, they'll help, will be helpful in your application. So yes, you should be optimistic, even if you are 50 or even if you are 60. So there is no limit for that if you are young at your heart. So can I get a PR after completing my dental assistant program? Getting PR is completely different thing, and completing education program is completely different thing. So that's why you need assistant, right? In Canada, everything is so vast. The information is so scattered. So that's why I want to create this single point of contact like me, because I've gone through so much when I have started with this journey, and you have to waste so much of time, you have to waste so much of energy when you do all these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you everything that you need. And because I know what dentists need, because I'll be concentrating only on dentists. So PR is completely different thing. Yes, with Canadian education and Canadian experience, there are better chances, there are bright chances for you to get PR. And if you're younger, then yes, you can definitely get PR. But again, you need proper assistance and guidance. Uh, Next is work experience is important post MDS in India to give dental specialty exam. It is better to have work experience because once you have start with the specialty examination, you won't be having anything, means you have to spend more time for your preparation, so you can't go um, for these work experience later on. So it is better if you are BDS, if you have completed your BDS or if you have completed your MDS, it is better to have 3 years of experience. Okay, so 3 years of experience is good experience that you can get good points on if you have 3 years of experience, even after BDS or even after MDS, because BDS degree and MDS degree, they're considered as a professional degree. Okay, which is equivalent to master's degree, which is not the case for engineers or other faculties. So you have to, if even if you are BDS or MDS, you'll get good numbers in CRS for your permanent residency application. And in addition to that, if you have 3 years of experience, that is even better to get good scores, CRS score for your permanent residency application. If I am ADC certified, then it's necessary to go NDEB exam. ADC certified means can you little bit elaborate on that? What certification you hold? Because I would like to know that what exactly you are, what certification you hold. I think it's Alia. Yeah. So till the time, I'll answer the next question. What is the scope of job opportunities after doing MSc in Canada? See, research fields, they are good options when you are not inclined towards clinical practice. So for that, having MSc or research degree, the opportunities are good. You can get opportunities into academics, you can get opportunities into research fields and all those things if you have done your Masters of Science and Research from Canada. And for that, I'll tell you, the McGill University, they have good programs for Master of Science in Clinical Research, and University of British Columbia, but that is very tough to get admission until unless you have very high credentials. So yes, MSc programs, research programs, good for you. If you don't want to get into clinical practice or something like that, you can definitely opt for MSc in Canada. That is also a good option. Many students that are dental students that are doing it, MSc programs. Okay, so the Australian Dental Council. Australian degree, if your BDS degree is from Australia, if you have completed Bachelor of Dental Surgery from Australia, from Australian University, okay, you are considered as an accredited dentist. Means you just have to give NDEB certification examination. You don't have to go through NDEB equivalency process. But if you are an Indian dentist and you have passed the Australian Dental Board examination, then it is not considered, because your base degree, bottom degree is from India. It is not from Australia, even if you have cleared Australian Dental Council examination. If your degree is from Australia, then yes, it is very much easy for you to get. You are considered equivalent to Canadian graduates. If you have degree from Australia, New Zealand, then United States, and there is recent addition, King Aziz University from Saudi Arabia, and Ireland. If you have your dental degree from these countries, then your degree is considered as an accredited dental degree in Canada. So you just have to give a OSCE examination and written examination, which Canadian graduates also have to give, and you can immediately start practicing dentistry as a licensed dentist in Canada. So that is it. I think we have come to the end. Yes, there is one more question. If we pursue research program, is there any university that gives full scholarship? See, scholarship is a different part. Scholarship, there are different types of scholarships which are available for international students and domestic students. Okay, being PR gives you so much advantage, because you have in Ontario something called as the OSAP, Ontario Student Assistance Program. Means your education will be funded by that state. Okay. For Canadian PR and citizens, there are better chances of getting local scholarships. If you are international student, you have to look for international scholarships. Again, depending upon your credentials, how good your CV is, you can definitely apply for scholarship, because in that those particular universities, they have the scholarship which are available with that particular program. So yes, they have the list of scholarship for which, for this particular program, you can apply for these scholarship programs. So you can definitely apply. Apart from that, you can also look for some international scholarships which are like, for example, Commonwealth scholarship programs is also there, because India being part of a Commonwealth country, right? So that also you can look for. So these are the options that you can have. So I think that answers all of your questions. And let me see if I can find any unanswered question there. Uh, Yeah, you have mentioned the pass percentage of each exam is your previous webinar. I would like to know if that is based on the first attempt or if it is overall pass percentage of all three tries. That is not first attempt or not for every attempt, for every year's examination that NDEB conducts, they declare the passing percentage for that. Okay, so the passing percentage for one exam for NDEB equivalency, the passing percentage are very less. Okay, as you go through NDEB certification process, the passing percentage increases. It goes towards somewhere around 90-95%. For NDEB equivalency process, the passing percentage drops below 50%. So maybe it is for first attempt. That is not individualized. That is not for that is not subjective. They have given the passing percentage of the exams that they have conducted in this year, in this which month. Suppose they have conducted AFK in February, they'll give the passing percentage. So that's an average. Okay, that's an average that is there you got. Okay, so you cannot give it for individual students. So there you go. And I hope many of you are from you have already joined my WhatsApp group where I'm discussing about all these things. So if you haven't, then please email me. I'll provide you with the link to join the WhatsApp group, which is dentistry and Canadian PR. Okay, so you're welcome there. So the last question we are going to take today is MPH better or MHA in terms of job opportunities and scope? Masters in public health and masters in health administrations. If you don't want to go towards clinical side, both I would say I would see the together equivalent, but the public health sector in Canada is not that great because of the population of the Canada. Okay, considering the population in India, considering the population in United States, yes, in United States, MPH is better because the public health sector is bigger. But in Canada, the public health sector is smaller because the population of Canada is small. So I would say a master's in health administration is better compared to master's in public health, because health industry, healthcare industry, they always need newcomers. They always need someone with talent, because that is ever evolving things. Because of the competition, you have to find some new ways to incorporate new business strategies, new practice strategies. So being a dentist and knowing how it works and everything, you can do better in that. So for me, my personal opinion is MHE is always better. And I want to clear one thing. If you want to apply for master's program, because master's program are only available in universities, okay, they are not available in private colleges or something like that. So if you want to apply for master's program in universities, the basic criteria is you have to have your GPA above 3. Okay, so if your GPA is above 3, then only you can apply for master's program in any university. So make sure that you have your GPA above 3, or if you want to improve your GPA, you can do some additional course on top of your BDS. So improve your GPA. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you guys have really liked today's presentation and it was helpful. And I'll see you soon. And I'm very much happy to see you all here. And without your contribution, it wouldn't be possible for me to conduct these type of webinars. Okay. So if you need any help, any assistance, please reach out to me. You have my email address, and you're very much welcome to join my WhatsApp group. So I again thank you all of you for joining me here today. and I'll see you soon for my next webinar. Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.